No, no worries. So wait, so
Okay.
let's just back up a little bit. So this was last April that you were driving from your home at on the Standing Rock Reservation, and there's this line, and so you see line of cars, and as you're getting closer to like the construction site, you mentioned you're feeling you had a sense that okay, something is a little off here.
Yeah, well, I guess the talk started in April around there within like our leaders, but we didn't see the action of it until probably like July and the end of July and August. Because I remember the dates when we put up the teepees first started going up over at the big camp. I had friends that were, once the camp started, coming from all over the place. When our chairman put out the call for help to all of the first, it started within our seven bands of Lakota people. He put a call out for them to come and help, and that in itself hasn't been done in a very long time. So it was just kind of like uh,
So you
out
you
of
you mentioned seven bands. And look, can you name them?
yeah. There's the Hunkwapa, there's Sichangu, there's Burnt Thigh, there's Oglala, um, there's Isanti, there's Ihanktoa, there's and those are just in Lakota and Dakota terms, but
Okay.
they're spread out through all of our great, our Sioux reservations that were once great, like huge. Now they're just small. And this is kind of like where Standing Rock is. We're the Hunkwapa band of people, and there's many others. There's some up in Canada. But they're all derived from the Lakota people. So, out of respect, that's why we call it the Great Sioux Nation, because there's seven different bands of them, and within those are families and leaders, and like we have Sitting Bull, we have Red Cloud, who was Oglala, we have different, Fool's Crow, we have different ancestors that come from different bands and stuff, and so, like I said, the last time like a call was out like that was like during Sitting Bull's days,
Wow.
you know,
Wow.
when him and Red Cloud were, you know, and Crazy Horse, when they were all together, when they were all alive. That was the last time that they put out a call for help like that. And so for me, it was really revering, because it was just kind of like he saw the reason in the history, the traumatic history that was repeating itself. And I never in my lifetime, as I was going to school, figured that something like this would happen where me and my children would witness it. But we were there in the days that it first started, and just out of respect, we rolled down our windows to listen, and all you could hear were prayer songs, and it was so powerful. And then after that call went out, we saw people coming just left and right. And my son had said to me as we were driving up, and we saw that, he was like, "Mom, those men are bad people. They're bad men, and they're trying to put black stuff in our water, and we won't be able to drink it." And he said we should help our people, the ones that are coming. And he suggested, "Mom, should we put up your teepee?" And I said, "Sure, we can." Um, and in our way, like when little ones speak like that, it's the honest to God truth. So, and because they're so pure. And
Right.
so the fact that my son had said that, I was just like, well, we got to find some teepee poles first. And we went and cut our own. We went down to the Sitting Bull camp down in South Dakota, by Bullhead, and we found a patch of trees. My cousin and I, and my boys and some of my relatives, and they went with us to help cut these trees down. And we brought them back, and all we had to do next is just set it up, and we picked a spot, and after that, it became like a hospitality place. So I had that place down at the camp, and then I opened up my home to other relatives that came, or family that came, friends and family that came from everywhere, to just be able to come and take a shower, wash clothes, cook their food there at my place, or just to come and cool off and take a nap.
Right. Right.
And every time we would leave from my house to down to the camp, I was taken aback by how large it grew and and how in a short amount of time. It just seemed like the last time I saw a council lodge put up was in pictures, black and white pictures that were from Sitting Bull's days. And right there in front of my eyes, I saw a council lodge, like right across this little dirt road from my teepee to the council lodge. And I just was in awe of all the things that were. It just seemed like time never skipped a beat from that time, like 200 years ago, to now.
Right.
It seemed like the form of order was just naturally there. And it was just out of respect that you helped each other, and you took care of your elders, and you took care of your little ones and within your family, and whoever was walking by, you knew that when they weren't from here, just out of respect and hospitality, that you offered them something to eat or a place to sit down and, ask questions. Because lots of people had questions about being from here, and when they found out, me and my family were from right here in Cannonball, what our feeling was. And our feeling was just, for me, I was really scared. I just moved back to this community 2 years ago, and it just kind of seemed like this is where we're going to be. This is where we're going to plant our roots. My family's from here. Generations of my family have grown up here and lived here. And it just seemed like it was our turn, and it just didn't seem so stable. It seemed really rocky and iffy, like what happens to our water supply? That's the first lifeline to everything within your home.
Exactly.
And if we don't have that, then how are we supposed to survive? So
right. When it finally sunk in and that you all realized, okay, this pipeline is proposed to go near the reservation near Standing Rock. And originally it was going to be closer to Bismarck residents, but the residents they protested, and so everything was diverted. When it finally sunk in that the pipeline was going to go closer to your area, what were some of the thoughts that you had, or I think you shared eloquently with me the other day about some of the things that came to your mind when it finally, like, it sunk in. It's like, oh, this is really being proposed to go through our land.
Mm-hmm. For me, I never realized that there were meetings prior to their decision to put it where they, decided to put it from. And in all actuality, for my community here, I can see exactly where the pipeline and it goes in. The construction seems like it's finished now, and I can see it from my house. As I get to my mother's house and to my sister's house, you can see it. And so it doesn't even seem like what they're saying. It's 5 miles from our community. It seems like it's less than that. And so it's a direct threat to our lives. And when I think about the people that live in Bismarck and what they have said, we don't want this. We don't want that here. It's going to affect us. It was really disheartening, and it was really discouraging. And it just felt like we were less than they are. And it's mostly a white population in Bismarck, and so it just seemed like our lives, our people, were less than. We were expendable. We were disposable, and we were nothing. And it just gave that meaning right back to what we were called hundreds of years ago was savages, and we're not, And so we have our children. I know that there's a bad side to some of our people, but I can totally look back and see and I've learned about it was like the historical trauma, boarding schools. That wasn't our decisions. That was the whites' decisions to put us into boarding schools. It ripped us apart, and it just seems like this is happening all over again. And so a lot of the people today is like their addictions and their way of life. Even our languages have been all negative. I really can't put that in a better form, but the rest of us, it seems like, or a small handful have decided and felt the need to learn our language and continue our ways of life, respecting our elders and learning from them, and respecting them for sharing with us what they had to teach us. Because like myself, I've learned a great deal from my own grandmother. She's been gone for 10 years now, and I can see the direct effect um, of what it did to our family. And so I look around and see people that are still lucky to have elders in their family, and I kind of have a little bit of jealousy because I still wish my grandma was around. There's so much that I wish, that I've learned from my grandma that I wish could be here today. But I realize now what she taught me, um, and what her brothers, my other grandfathers have taught me, they weren't out of vain. They weren't done in vain. They were a purpose was so that their teachings can keep going. And this is how our whole way of life is. We have a verbal, oral history, and the reason why it's oral is just so that it can't be mocked or mimicked by other nations. And it's so strong, it's so powerful, and everything's done out of respect. And so there's a small handful of people that continue to do that today. And when I look at the people or the town of Bismarck, and I just wonder, like, do they have that same type of lifestyle? Or to make look at us as being less than? And I don't understand, like, there's a lot of their reasonings for just saying we can afford to lose them. So it's really hurts because I know it makes the future for my children very grim, and it's dark. And I had said, if this happens, I want to move away from here. But if I decided to move, it would just eventually happen somewhere else. It seems like our Earth's supply of fresh water is just going so fast, and it's done out of carelessness. The people that want this pipeline are just doing it out of their greed, their necessity to have more money in their pockets, and by any means possible. It just kind of seems like we don't live that way. For us, it's the natural resources are the best things for us. We don't really need anything else. So
Right.